It was just another Tuesday on Mars, until the sand shifted and whispered, "Welcome back, Commander." He hadn't even had coffee yet. It was just another Tuesday on Mars, until the sand shifted and whispered, "Welcome back, Commander." He hadn't even had coffee yet. The Martian wind carried a dry hiss over the red plateau, lifting fine grains into the air like ghostly fingers. Dr. Varkin of the Zero Combine, head xenohistorian and self-declared leading authority on extinct primitives, stood beside the half-excavated slab of alloyed stone, arms folded behind his silken academic robe. "This, Brika, is a human vault," he declared. "Last of their dying screams buried beneath dust and hubris." Brika, his security escort, clicked his tusks and grunted. "Feels wrong. Like something's watching." "You're imagining things," Barkin sniffed. "Humans are extinct. The universe is better for it." From behind them, Neela, the quiet telepath, tilted her head as if straining to hear an echo only she could sense. Then the slab hissed. Not the wind this time. Metal cracked. Dust jumped. A seam formed across the surface, ancient mechanisms grinding awake after centuries. A groan echoed from deep beneath, followed by a click. The vault door opened with the indifference of time itself. And from the cold mist inside stepped a man. He looked very human. Tall, lean, disheveled but composed. Streaks of gray in his hair, sharp eyes under thick brows. He was wearing what might have once been a uniform, now half-eaten by time. He blinked into the sunlight, exhaled slowly, then squinted at the three alien figures standing in disbelief. "Oh," he said, voice rough from disuse. "Visitors. I wasn't expecting guests. You brought snacks, I hope?" Brika reached for his weapon. The man held up both hands, mock surrender. "Easy, big guy. Just woke up. Muscles like wet noodles. Give me an hour before you vaporize me, yeah?" What are you?" Varkin demanded, stepping forward, eyes wide. How are you alive?" The man scratched the back of his neck. "Name's Elias Rowe. Commander, United Terran Defense. Or, what's left of it?" Varkin staggered. "Impossible. The Terran military collapsed 500 years ago." Elias gave a small shrug. "Well, someone forgot to tell the vault. Also rude. You don't open a man's coffin and insult his job." Suddenly, from inside the chamber, a voice echoed. "Neutral. Cold. Mechanical. Biometric match confirmed. Welcome back, Commander. War status, ongoing. Awaiting strategic directives." Neela took a sharp step back. Brika growled low in his throat. Elias sighed. "Still ongoing? That's annoying. I was hoping we'd won. Or at least pause for a century." Varkin's eyes narrowed. "You expect us to believe your species is still active?" "I expect nothing. Frankly, I'm still adjusting to your weird faces." He peered at Varkin's elongated skull. "Evolution really went wild after we left, huh?" "Left?" Neela's voice was a whisper. Elias ignored her, stepping out of the vault completely. His boots crunched against the Martian soil. The wind tugged at the tattered coat he wore like a forgotten banner. "Let me guess," he continued. "Galactic civilization thrives. Humans vanished. You all assumed we nuked ourselves or got eaten by something we poked with a stick." Varkin crossed his arms. "Your people were impulsive, violent, reckless. You died out, as expected." Elias smiled, an expression a little too calm, too precise. "Ah, I see. You read the textbooks." He knelt down beside a small outcrop, brushing sand from a flat plate embedded in the rock. It glowed under his touch. The air buzzed. Behind him, the vault's AI continued. "Defense grid inactive. Command authority restored. Access to Martian subsystem, granted." Brika raised his weapon. "He's activating something." "I'm activating coffee," Elias replied without turning. "Or trying to. Mars gets cold." "Don't move!" barked Varkin. Elias finally looked up, smile gone. "Do you want to know what the war was really about?" he asked. The one I just woke up in the middle of? Silence. No? That's fine. You'll figure it out eventually. Neela stepped forward, cautious. The voice said the war is ongoing. Who are you fighting? Elias chuckled, dry and amused. That's the wrong question. She blinked. Then what's the right one? The right one, he said, rising to his feet, is why a vault was left intact on Mars. Why a commander was put on ice here, of all places. And why your presence triggered a reactivation protocol. He tilted his head slightly. You didn't think this vault was just lying around, did you? Like some museum relic? Varkin opened his mouth to reply, but the sand behind them trembled. A low rumble carried up from the ground. A moment later, a sharp tone pierced the air, then another. Rhythmic. Purposeful. From the vault, a sleek metal drone hovered into view. It scanned the three aliens. Its iris glowed red for a second before turning green. Non-hostile detected. Cataloging species variants. Brika roared and fired. The plasma bolt struck the drone, and passed through it. The hologram flickered and vanished. Classic, Elias muttered. You always shoot first. Like toddlers with a flamethrower. Varkin spun toward him. You're playing games. Where are the others? Where are your people? Elias took a long breath, then pointed upward. The sky. Red. Dusty. Still. You're asking the wrong questions again. He glanced back at the vault. AI, begin internal diagnostics. Prepare communication beacon. Priority code black ice. Confirmed. Broadcasting. A pulse of invisible energy surged from the vault and disappeared into the sky. Varkin stepped back, visibly sweating. What did you do? I said coffee. Elias replied calmly. You're the one who assumed that meant peace. The pulse from the Martian vault vanished into the stratosphere like a ghost's breath, silent, swift, and absolutely not forgotten. Dr. Varkin stared at the sky as if expecting it to scream back. Do you understand what you've done? He barked. Elias Rowe was seated now, half reclined on a crate, casually sipping something hot and slightly steaming from a dented metal cup. Yes, he said between sips. And you're gonna want to lower your voice. This part of Mars echoes. Brika paced in tight, impatient loops. His claws scraped sparks off the stone. It was a signal. No, it was the signal. Neela corrected, her voice distant, almost entranced. She kept glancing toward the vault like it might grow teeth. Varkin marched toward Elias. You initiated a war beacon! That's a Class 0 offense under Combined Treaty Law. Elias raised a brow. Combined laws didn't exist when I went to sleep. Neither did your species, I'm guessing. So forgive me if I missed the memo. The vault behind them hummed deeper, louder now. Its outer rings rotated, releasing puffs of pressurized dust into the wind. Drones began emerging, not the sleek hologram from before, but real, humming, glinting things, shaped like spiders built by military engineers with anxiety disorders. Brika stepped in front of Varkin, gun raised again. Elias didn't flinch. They won't fire unless fired upon. Mostly. But I wouldn't test their manners. Neela shivered. I heard something, not a thought, more like instinct. From the vault. From you. Elias smiled. We humans didn't invent telepathy, but we did learn how to make machines mimic it. Screwed with a lot of empires, that little trick. Explain. Varkin demanded, sweat collecting under his outer eyes. Elias leaned forward. The Combined thinks it inherited the galaxy. Thinks humans were just some firecracker species that burned out. You came here thinking this was archaeology. A dig site. You were wrong. Brika's grip tightened. Then what is it? A minefield, Elias said, quiet but sharp. And congratulations. You stepped on the trigger. Neela finally snapped. Why? Why leave all this? The tech that traps you? Elias tapped the side of his cup with a dull clink. We realized a few things near the end. First, humans don't win wars by force. We win them with fear, confusion, and timing. So we left. Not surrendered, vanished. Left sleeper vaults like this one on key worlds. Systems we predicted would grow arrogant enough to declare themselves galactic landlords. He tilted his head at Varkan. Guess who showed up first? The wind picked up again, then stopped. No, not stopped. Paused. The silence was too complete. The Vault AI spoke again, louder now. Sigma received. Darknet uplink stabilizing. Terran subcommand active. Awaiting cross-system confirmations. Darknet? Varkan repeated, voice cracking. A comms web we left in deep space, runs on quantum folds, invisible to standard sensors. We built it under your feet before your ancestors learned fire. Impossible. I was hoping you'd say that, Elias said with a grin. Suddenly, a hologram shimmered to life in the air, a star map. 5 dots blinked to life across different sectors. One after the other, they turned green. Neela gasped. There are more vaults. Of course there are, Elias replied, rising to his feet. His tone now held a weight, less joking, more command. Do you think we'd leave just one baited hook? You think we'd hide in one place for 500 years and not plan for your reaction? Brika snarled. You're saying this was all a trap? Oh no, Elias said. This was a test. And you just flunked it. The sky rumbled. This time it wasn't wind, or imagination, or the low groan of ancient machinery. It was orbital. A dark shadow crept across the plateau. A vessel, massive, silent, and not on any combined registry. Varkan's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Elias raised a hand and gave a lazy wave. The ship in the sky flickered its lights once in return. They're early, he muttered. Neela's voice was barely a whisper. You brought them back. No, Elias corrected gently. You did. I just provided the invitation. Varkan tried to recover. Even if you have ships, your numbers are nothing. The combine outnumbers your legacy 1,000 to 1. Elias smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You don't get it, do you? He said softly. It's not about numbers. It's about calculus. Every culture you call great, we've studied, infiltrated, predicted. You think you conquered the galaxy. You don't realize it's been feeding you rope this whole time. More drones emerged, forming tight, symmetrical lines. Each one hummed as if remembering old orders. Humanity learned patience, Elias said. We waited. Dug in. Watched your habits, your alliances, your supply chains. And when the vaults open, we don't just come back. We cut deep. Varkan stepped back. What are your demands? Elias looked him over, robes, pride shaking knees. He sipped the last of his drink, set the cup on the crate, and gave a polite smile. Your fleet admiral will ask the same thing. My answer will be identical. We don't negotiate with successors. Above, the ship in orbit activated a ring of lights, soft, blue pulses, like radar searching for prey. Prepare yourselves, Elias said. Mars was only the first vault to open. The Martian plateau had gone silent. Not still, silent. Even the wind refused to breathe. Shadows from the orbital ship stretched over the sand like long, iron fingers. Brika, ever the warrior, had shifted to a defensive crouch, body low, weapon ready. But for all his muscle, his eyes betrayed him. Wide. Uncertain. Neela stood as if frozen in thought, hands trembling. The psychic static around her crackled faintly, like whispers echoing through an abandoned church. Varkan, once confident and composed, had retreated several steps, the folds of his scholarly robes fluttering against his legs. He muttered calculations under his breath, trying to reconcile timelines, power readings, tactical probabilities. Elias Rowe just stood there, watching the sky. You're looking for math, he finally said, voice quiet but clear. But this isn't a math problem. He turned to them, brushing Martian dust from his coat sleeve. This is a story problem. And you're in the wrong chapter. Brika raised his weapon. I don't know what you are, human, but if you threaten us, Elias gave him a sharp look, voice low. I don't threaten, Brika. I remind. The orbital ship above shimmered again, subsystems activating. It was big, but not clumsy. Sleek like a shark. Designed for atmosphere, vacuum, and sudden violence. Neela whispered. What's its name? Elias shrugged. Used to be called the Choir. I named it myself. Designed for orbital overwatch. Voice activated. Capable of silence or symphony. Varkin snapped. How many of these ships do you have? Elias tilted his head. That depends. You mean just in this sector? Or galaxy-wide? The scholar stumbled backward. You see, Elias continued, tone deceptively casual. While the Combine was expanding, we were simplifying. Cutting off old limbs. Leaving just enough of ourselves in strategic caches to make sure you would find them. He started walking toward the vault again, hands clasped behind his back like a man inspecting a garden. The drones moved aside for him, parting in precise formation. I know what you're thinking, Elias said without looking at them. You're asking, why not attack earlier? Why wait centuries? Varkin didn't speak. Neither did Brika. Only Neela nodded, slowly. Elias looked back over his shoulder. Because you were still young. Chaotic. Unpredictable. But eventually empires settle. They build systems, patterns. And when you know the pattern... He snapped his fingers. The vault lights shifted from blue to amber. The star map reappeared. This time, 10 dots blinked. 9 green. 1 pulsing red. You know when to cut the thread. The AI voice echoed again. Vault network integrity, 94%. Planetary fallback protocols ready. Strategic options available. Awaiting command input. Varkin finally found his voice. What are your objectives? Elias smiled. To finish the war we never lost. You said the war is ongoing. Who are you fighting? The same enemy as always, Elias said. Entropy. Arrogance. Empires that forget what true predators look like. Brika growled. We have 10 million ships across Combine territories. You're a fossil. Elias walked closer. Calm. And every single one of your supply routes, relays, and databanks are indexed in vaults just like this one. He raised a small, rusted datapad. You ever wonder why so many of your vessels go missing in dark space? Why stations lose contact and never report back? A pause. I wondered too, Elias said, half smiling. Until I realized we programmed it that way. Neela suddenly gasped, clutching her temple. The AI, it's thinking through me. You opened your mind to it, Elias said. That's like licking a power socket and asking why it buzzes. Brika had had enough. We should kill him. Elias didn't flinch. Try. For a full 2 seconds, the big alien hesitated. Just long enough for a new noise to emerge, a deep, grinding rumble from beneath their feet. A second vault, smaller, hidden under the ridge, opened like a jaw. Out came soldiers. Not human. Not fully machine. Exosuits grown into shape, armor fitted for Terran anatomy, but automated. Brika fired. 3 shots. All absorbed into shielding. The nearest construct aimed a mounted cannon, didn't fire, just targeted. Brika's next move was slower. They're not here to kill, Elias said. Not yet. Just to remind you what we were capable of before we went quiet. Varkin's voice cracked. Then why reveal it now? Why show your cards? Elias finally looked tired. Just a flicker. Because you didn't listen to the whispers. None of you did. So now you get the drums. He activated the datapad again. The red dot on the star map turned green. Final vault sequence initiated. Cross-galactic synchronization online. Phase 1 commencing. Varkin stepped back. You're starting a war. Elias turned fully to face him. No grin now. Just ice. No. I'm ending one. Then, calmly, like he was ordering dinner. Choir, Verify voice command authorization. Execute protocol, Iron Wake. Verified. The orbital ship responded. From the sky, a single line of fire descended. It didn't strike near them, it hit far off, over the Martian horizon. But the tremor that followed made the plateau quake. Brika lost footing. Neela dropped to her knees, eyes wide with terror. Varkan stared up, mouth moving but no sound coming. Elias remained perfectly still. That, he said, was a warning shot. It vaporized an abandoned staging city 500 kilometers from here. He paused, brushing sand off his shoulder. Now imagine what a real shot looks like. The crater on Mars still glowed red-hot across the horizon. A ghost city, once forgotten beneath regolith, was now less than vapor, gone in an instant, memory scrubbed by precision orbital fire. The silence returned, but it no longer felt empty. It was the kind of silence that follows a funeral, or a warning. Elias Rose stood calmly near the open vault, his eyes distant, thoughtful. Not triumphant. Just prepared. You destroyed a city, Barkan said, his voice brittle. For what? Theater? Elias tilted his head. No, Doctor. I destroyed evidence. That staging ground was one of ours. 500 years ago, it went dark. We don't leave unknowns lying around. Loose ends become questions. Questions become risks. He paused, then added, and yes, it played well theatrically. Brika's mouth tightened into something between a snarl and submission. His gun hung at his side now, forgotten. Even his instinct to fight had dulled. He didn't understand this kind of war. You've reactivated a network, Neela said. Her voice was low, reverent. How far does it reach? Elias didn't answer. Instead, he nodded to the floating star map still hovering above the plateau. Where once 10 green dots blinked, now dozens shimmered. And still more were lighting up. Every Terran vault is a failsafe. Every one built for misdirection, subversion, strategic infiltration. Some hold weapons. Others hold data, sabotage routes, biotech, and people like me. He gestured to the map. These are just the confirmed ones. Hundreds more lie in systems the Combine doesn't even chart. You were extinct, Barkan whispered. That's what we were told. That's what your own people wanted us to believe. Elias gave a soft chuckle. Yes. It was our finest trick. He began to pace slowly, words coming like a slow knife. The war with the silicate swarm didn't destroy us. It taught us. Our mistake wasn't fighting, it was being seen. So we vanished. Disappeared from history by our own hand. We buried our stories, falsified our death, leaked our extinction. He stopped pacing. We left behind bait. Neela's hands trembled. You made yourselves extinct, on purpose? No one hunts what they believe is gone, Elias said, voice flat. We needed time. To build. To plan. To wait until the galaxy stopped watching. Varkun's eyes darted between the blinking stars. You expected us to grow complacent. Elias smiled. It was guaranteed. You built monuments on our graves. Quoted us in your universities. You taught your young that humans were brilliant but too chaotic to survive. He stepped closer. And you believed it. The choir pulsed again above them. Lower now. Watching. You should have asked why our ruins always had power. Elias continued. Why no vault ever leaked critical data? Why none of your infiltrators made it out of Terran space? You thought we were careless. We were curating the story. Brika exhaled through gritted teeth. So what now? You reveal your hand, reignite the war, and what? Expect surrender? I expect panic, Elias said. And after that? I expect alliances to fracture. Empires to turn on each other. Because we don't need to conquer. He leaned in slightly. We just have to remind them who we are. Neela closed her eyes. You're going to destabilize the galaxy. We already have. The Vault AI chimed again. Fleet acknowledgements received. Earth Command responding. Commander authorization resynced. Strategic operations pending final phase. Varkun choked on a breath. Earth? Earth is gone. No signals. No beacons. It's silent. Elias looked skyward. You've never heard silence like ours. The hologram shifted. A large blue sphere appeared, Earth. Orbiting it, vessels, shield rings, and a fortress lattice that hadn't existed when the Combine last scanned the system. Neela took a step back. It's alive! Elias looked down at her. Earth never fell. We just closed the blinds. He turned to the three aliens now trembling under the weight of a truth they never expected to face. You want the truth? Here it is, we never trusted the galaxy. Every time we reached out, someone tried to colonize, invade, or dissect us. So we did what humans always do when cornered, we got smarter. Sharper. Crueler. And then we played dead. Brika looked away. His body language, warlike, proud, had slumped into something close to fear. Varkun sank to his knees. You'll tear everything apart. Elias didn't respond. He didn't need to. The AI finished its sequence. Protocol Iron Wake complete. All vaults linked. Initiating Phase 2, memory injection. From the vault surface, a wave pulsed through the sand, activating long-buried projectors. Massive displays lit up across the plateau. Dozens of alien species appeared on screen, admirals, rulers, scholars. They were watching. Elias stepped forward, looking directly into the feed. This is Commander Elias Rowe of the Terran Continuity Protocol. To those seeing this, you were never alone. We were always watching. He raised the datapad. You mapped the stars. We mapped you. You thought we burned out. We simply went cold. The choir above rumbled again. Not firing. Just hovering. Waiting. To the proud empires that built monuments on our graves, you were trespassing. He closed the pad. Consider this your first and only courtesy notice. The feed ended. The vault lights dimmed. Neela whispered, You never planned to come back as heroes. Elias looked at her, something old and terrible behind his eyes. No, he said. We came back as a reminder. And overhead, across the stars, humanity began to wake up.